Hello everyone, I'm going to make a video about VirtualBox. So I'm going to show you how to upgrade VirtualBox on Ubuntu. If you have installed VirtualBox from Ubuntu repository, so by example, you have opened your distribution software center, you've searched for VirtualBox and installed it, what it can happen is that after a few years, that version may become outdated. Of course, if it's working well on your system, you can keep that version. But if you ever need a feature from one of the new version of VirtualBox, for example, if a new operating system is available and you trying to install it in VirtualBox, and then that operating system gives you an error during the installation, sometimes it's because there's an incompatibility with the old version of VirtualBox. I remember that happened to me when I tried to install Red Hat Linux 9 just after it was released. It's happened to me too when I tried to install a new version of Microsoft Windows. So you can have problem with old version of VirtualBox when you try to install a new operating system. If you ever want to see from which repository you install it, I invite you to open your software center. In my case, I have a KDE graphical interface, so I'm using Discover. If you're using the default Ubuntu interface, it will be with the GNOME Software Center. So the Software Center will be different, but the principle remains the same. Just search for VirtualBox. There should have a place that shows you from which repository it was installed or the version installed. So if you're still on version 6.1.50, it's very likely that you install it from Ubuntu repository. Of course, it is if you're using Ubuntu 22.04. Again, if it worked well and you are able to do everything you want to do, it is not mandatory to update VirtualBox. You can keep your version. So I showed you from the KDE Software Center, but if you can't find it from your software center, from your graphical interface, I'm going to show you with command line. So it has the advantage of working on all Ubuntu distribution or Ubuntu based distribution, and no matter what graphical interface you are using. The first step on the command line will be to list all installed packages containing the word VirtualBox. You can check this with the command apt list -- installed. And we're going to use the vertical bar, the pipe sign, and then grep VirtualBox. It is to only display the lines containing the word VirtualBox. So we see 3 packages installed on my system. In this line, we can see from which repository it was installed. So in my case, it's from the jamie-update repository. And we can see the version. And here we see it's installed. Normally, if you install it from Ubuntu repository, you will have the package name VirtualBox installed. And if you install it from the VirtualBox website, normally it should be VirtualBox - and the version number, for example, 7.0. If you want more information about the package, you can use the command apt info and the package name. So in my case, VirtualBox. Of course, this command returns a lot of technical stuff, but it tells us who maintains this package. So if it is Ubuntu developers, it means you have the version that comes with your Ubuntu Linux distribution. Again, with this command, we can see the version. We also have a apt source line that tells us from which source it was installed, from which repository. We see it is from the Ubuntu archives. I just want to add a clarification. If you already installed on your system the version provided from the Oracle website, from VirtualBox website, the official site to download VirtualBox. You won't see any information if you use the exact same command as I use, because in this case, the package name is VirtualBox followed by the version, by example 7.0, or another version if you're using another version. In my case, on another machine, I run the command apt-info and the package name. So we see here that the maintainer is Oracle rather than Ubuntu. So now, if you want to install the new version of VirtualBox, the first step will be to uninstall the currently installed VirtualBox. So in my case, with Discover, the KDE Software Center, I just have to click on the little trash icon and the installation process began. It asks me to enter my password. We need to be with an administrator account. And the installation is done. Now we're going to download it from the VirtualBox official website. Here is the website address and click on the download link. This takes us to VirtualBox download page. To download the latest version of VirtualBox, we have a category here, Virtual Platform Package. You need to choose on which operating system you will install VirtualBox. So what is the operating system of your current system? Are you currently on Windows, Mac, or Linux system? So in our case, we will click on Linux distribution. We also need to choose the Linux distribution we use. In my case, with KDE Neo, which today is based on Ubuntu 22.04, I will click on Ubuntu 22.04. Ubuntu 24.04 is out since some weeks, but as you can see, it is not in the list here. It is the 2 new release for the moment. Although the package from the older version can probably work, I recommend waiting for an official version supporting that Ubuntu release. This can avoid problems and bugs. And this is one reason why it's always a good practice to wait a few months when a new operating system comes out before installing it. Because not all software can be invaluable for that operating system yet, and sometimes this new version has early bugs. If an important thing to you is to just use your computer with a minimal problem, it's always a good practice to wait some months to download a new release for an operating system. So if I click on Ubuntu 22.04, it downloads immediately. And once the download is complete, I will go to my download folder with my file browser, and we can see the new file I downloaded. And most popular Linux distribution, you just have to click on the installation file. And the installation will begin with a graphical tool. But maybe for other Linux distribution, there may be additional instruction to execute the installation file. So here's how it looks in the KDE graphical interface. By double-clicking on the file, it opens Discover, the KDE Software Center, and I have a button to install from the file I just downloaded. In my case, it warns me that some packages need to be removed. There are things that were installed when I installed the VirtualBox version from the Ubuntu repository. So earlier on this video, I uninstalled VirtualBox, but there were still some other package and dependency that need to be removed to install the new version. So we'll proceed to install. In the case of Discover, the KDE Software Center, my task progression is displayed at the bottom left, at least with the KDE 6.0 version. So I have the percentage of the installation process. It's now finished. I can always click on the menu button of my Linux distribution and then search for the installed software and open VirtualBox. But in Discover, I also have a launch button on the top right to start the program. And now VirtualBox start. If I check its version, I'm now at version 7.0. If I want to install the extension pack for VirtualBox, and the older version, it was to click on File and Preference. But now, with version 7.0 on the screen, we no longer see the extension menu here. So in the version 7.0, to manage extension, install a new extension, you have to click on File and Tools, and we have the extension manager here. I will click on it. In my case, the Oracle extension pack is already installed. I tried to install it in my old version of VirtualBox. I had an error because it was not compatible with the version of VirtualBox I was using, but it remained installed, although it was disabled. But that's why it's currently already installed. If you don't have it and want it, you just need to download it and then click on the install button here to install it. Quickly, I will show you how to download it. So we need to go back to the virtual download website, the same one we visited earlier. What I need is the virtual extension pack. And if I scroll down the page, and here we have the category about the extension pack, and we have a link named All Supported Platform. You just have to click on this file. It's a small file, so it should be fast to download. If I reopen my download directory, there you go, we see it, the file is downloaded. So this is the file that needs to be added when you click on the install button in the virtual extension manager. And if you ever want to download another version, a specific version, so not the latest officially released version, I will show you how to do it. So we go back to the download page. And if I scroll down, I have a category called VirtualBox Older Builds. And I will click on the VirtualBox Older Build links. We see here all major version. So if, for example, I need one of the 6.1 version, I just have to click on 6.1. And on this page, we see all the version for this 6.1. So 6.1.50, 6.1.46, etc. If you need an extension pack for that specific version, just click on it. It will download the extension pack. So that's all for this video. I hope it was useful for you, and I wish you a good day. Bye bye.